All rise, please. First District Court's now in session. The Honorable Jack Vitale presiding. You may be seated.
Case 16-4619 FY, Daniel Allen Clay. Time is set for preliminary examination. Are the people ready to proceed? Yes. Defense ready to proceed?
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
Call your first witness. Mike Williams. Witness, just come to the microphone at the glass, please. Right in front of you. Right there. Pause and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give is true?
Yes.
Have a seat in the witness chair. And before we proceed any further, if you have any electronic devices, make sure they're off. There's no recording allowed whatsoever, no picture taking from the gallery whatsoever. If you do that, you'll be removed from the courtroom. Sir, please recite and spell your entire name for the court report.
M-I-C-H-A-E-L-W-I-L-L-I-A-M-S. Judge, before we proceed, I should have done this prior to calling the first witness, but I would ask that witnesses be sequestered. Of course, I know they are.
All right. Are there any witnesses for either the prosecution or the defense in the courtroom? None? All right. How many witnesses do you have?
14 or so.
4?
14 or so.
Well, we're going to have to advise them because they're going to have to know that. So
We're
let's bring
keeping them all in the room.
Yeah, but I have to tell them. So bring them in here and I'll tell them what they can do and what they can't do.
Okay. I mean, they're not all here yet, I can tell you, but...
Those who are here, I'll advise, and then advise the others as they arrive. Witnesses, just stand across the room, please. All right. I'm advised that you are witnesses in this case. You're going to be under an order of sequestration. What that means is that you will not be allowed in the courtroom while anyone is testifying. But the order goes further than that. Wherever you're in my jury room now, you're not allowed to discuss the case with anyone. If someone comes back from the witness stand, it's kind of human nature to say, what did they ask you? What did they say? What did you say? You cannot discuss the case with anyone while this hearing is going on. When it's over, you can discuss it with whoever you want. All right? Okay. Thank you. There were 11 people that were here, so I don't know. You must have 3 others. Go right ahead.
Go ahead. Mr. Williams, I'd like to begin by asking you where you were residing in October, particularly October the 25th of 2014.
My place of residence, 3587 Post Road.
And in what township is that?
I believe Frenchtown.
Is it in Monroe County in the state of Michigan?
Yes.
And on that date in particular, was there something planned for the residence or the property?
Yeah. Yes.
And what was that?
My annual Halloween party.
And what's the nature of the party? We'll just briefly tell us.
It's a costume party. I usually have like 10 bands, get like a circus tent, It's usually real well planned in advance. I've been doing it for 10 years.
How many people had you anticipated to be in attendance?
I anticipated, I think Facebook was saying 600. I think I probably reached well over that.
Was this by invitation?
Yes, Facebook advertising.
So you publicized an invitation on Facebook in other ways?
Yes, yes.
And the property that you said was on Post Road, you would just generally describe the property for the court?
The property's on 5 acres. It's a small ranch. I used the backfield for parking. Generally, right in my backyard is where I had the tent set up, and
The tent for?
the party for the bands to play under and everything.
All right. Was there an area for a bonfire as well?
Yes, there was.
Where was that in relation to the
I
in the tent?
I would say if you're facing the house, it'd be in the middle left-hand side, I would say.
What time was the party to begin?
It started at noon.
Was there personnel working the party?
Yes, I had, I believe, 12 people working security.
Did people actually start arriving at noon?
Yeah, mostly bands and some people that were helping me get last-minute things at that time.
And when did the party goers begin to arrive?
I'd say shortly after, 3, 4 o'clock. I think that's when probably around the first band went on.
Now, in terms of people that were at the party, I take it you were there during the party?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And did you know many of the people that were there?
I knew many, yes, and many I didn't.
Did you know most of the people that you had invited?
I would say yes.
All right. Do you know an individual by the name of Chelsea Bruck?
I didn't know her on a personal level. I did meet her friends of friends, acquaintance, I would say.
Did you know if she was invited to the party?
Yeah, she was invited. She had been to previous parties, actually.
Did you see her that night?
I did not see her that night.
At its peak, how many people would you say were at the party?
I'd say close to 1,000.
And is this a fairly rural part of Monroe County?
Yes, yes.
Surrounded by farmland?
Yeah, cornfields. I got a couple neighbors right across the street. Other than that, you know, it could be a few hundred yards. The neighbors are apart.
How long did the party last that day?
I kicked out the last 50 people about 6 a.m.
Are there any other, aside from the house and the tent which you described, are there any other structures at your property?
Yeah, there's an old chicken coop and an old barn. And then there's, I guess, a hut, an unfinished built barn, I would say, or a garage.
And is that also in the, are all those in the backyard?
Yeah. I would say mid-yard and backyard.
All right, thank you. No other questions?
Cross?
No questions, thank you, Judge.
All right, does anyone wish for Mr. Williams to remain as a potential witness later?
Nope.
No, Judge.
You're free to go, or you're welcome to stay. Thanks for your
Yeah, thank you.
Laura Taylor?
Laura Taylor. Ms. Taylor, come to the microphone at the glass, please. Pause and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is true?
Yes.
Have a seat in the witness chair to my left. Please recite and spell your entire name for the court recorder and keep your voice up so everybody can hear it.
Laura Taylor, Laura Taylor.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Taylor, do you know an individual by the name of Chelsea Bruck?
Yes.
And how did you know her?
I worked with her at Olga's.
How long have you known her?
6 months.
Let's say prior to October 25th, 2014, would you say 6 months?
From April.
From April of 2014?
Yes.
And did you socialize with her as well as work with her at that restaurant?
Yes.
I'd like to draw your attention to October the 25th of 2014. Do you know if there's anything special planned for that day?
There was a party
Right. Do you know where the party, you recall where the party was located?
in Newport, Frenchtown. It was at Williams Road and Post.
Have you been to that party before?
Yes.
And what was your plan for that evening?
After I left, Chelsea didn't need a ride home, or she wasn't coming home with me.
But, let me back way up. Before you even went to the party, I mean, was it your intention to go alone or?
Oh, alone.
All right. And did you in fact go alone?
Yes, when I first showed up.
Do you recall what time you arrived?
About 10 p.m. the first time.
And were you in costume, by the way?
No.
When you say the first time, did you leave the party?
Yes.
Why did you leave the party?
To go get Chelsea.
Why did you do that?
She had started texting and messaging me on Facebook,
Indicating what?
asking me if I would pick her up. She had originally had a ride and they backed out.
So did you understand that she had a ride?
Yes.
And that's why you didn't go with her?
Yes.
Right. And so the messages from her was that her ride had backed out and she wanted you to come get her?
Yes.
Did you do so?
Yes.
What time did you leave the party?
About 10:10 the first time, and then I went and got her. We arrived back about 11:15.
Just the two of you?
Yes.
When you arrived, did you park in the parking area that was designated for this party?
Yes.
A lot of people there?
Yes.
And what did you and Chelsea do once you arrived?
We met up with Becky, Jessica, the Olga's crew, Heather,
Okay, so let me back up a second. Becky, do you know her last name?
Aguilera.
Okay. Is that also Brinson?
Yes.
All right. And did you say Jessica?
Probable.
And who else?
Heather, Brooks,
Okay.
and then just the Olga's people that we always hung out with.
Okay. And where did you meet?
We met under the tent.
The tent, is that where the bands were playing?
Yes.
And what happened then?
Then, like, when we all got together, they were drinking, I was not. I decided to wander off. I met up with a guy named Don McGuire,
Mm-hmm.
and we sat in the truck talking for about an hour, hour and a half, and then Chelsea.
Did you previously know Don McGuire?
Yes.
So you were with him for an hour, hour and a half, something like that?
Yeah, till I left.
So what time would you say that you left?
1:15.
Now, at some point during that evening, did you have some of Chelsea's belongings?
Yes.
What belongings were those?
Her cell phone, her wallet, and her bag.
What sort of bag was it? I mean, like a purse or?
It was like a handbag, but full of clothes.
Okay, and the, you said, a wallet, right? So was the wallet in the bag?
No, she had it like her little purse.
And then, why did you have her phone and those other items?
She left it in the truck so she didn't lose it.
She left the phone in the, as well?
Yes.
As the other items? So, when you decided to leave, did you make some effort to get those items to her?
Yes. Chelsea had originally called me off a weird number that I didn't know, and I told her I'd be up by the fire in a minute, and I would give her her phone and her stuff. Instead, Becky ended up calling me, getting her phone from me for Chelsea.
So, when you got that call from Chelsea, did you go back to your car and retrieve those items?
Yeah, I was still sitting in the truck.
Oh, I see. And then you're saying that you got another call?
Yes, from Becky.
From Becky. And is it your testimony that Becky said, no, she was going to come and meet you?
Yeah, Becky came and met me at the fire.
All right. And did you then take those 3 items with you to the bonfire?
I didn't get out of the truck. She like walked over because I was leaving as she retrieved the phone from me. And
Okay.
she said she would just get the rest of the stuff tomorrow.
All right. Were you actually driving in your car, exiting the
Yes.
party? Is the driveway where you exit, is that fairly close to the bonfire?
Yes.
So is it fair to say then that you saw her at some point and stopped your vehicle to give her those items?
I did not see her. I seen Becky.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Becky, all right. And when you left, did you leave alone?
Yes.
Now, do you recall what Chelsea was wearing that night?
I remember her hair being like mine because I just went and got it done. It was purple and red. I vaguely remember the Halloween costume,
What do you recall of it?
the green leaves on it. And then I remember like black stockings, and she had flats on.
Do you recall what that costume was?
Poison ivy,
The character from
Batman.
Batman? Do you know how that costume came to be?
She made it.
All right. Do you know how, were you around her at some point to know what effort she took in making that?
No.
Okay. But you do know she made it?
Yes.
You know, the hair that you described?
Yes.
Was that her hair, or do you think that was...
It was a wig.
Oh, all right. And it was, did you say, well, you said your hair was
My hair was actually dyed that color.
that color, and what color was it again?
It was like a purple red.
I see. One color, but a purple-red
Yes.
shade. All right. All right, thank you. Another question?
Cross?
Now, how long did you spend at the party with Miss Bruck? Were you with her for a period of time?
Probably 20 minutes.
Okay. And did you say that you took her there?
Yes.
Okay. And did she take anything with her to the party?
Her purse, her wallet, and bag.
Did she have a large bottle of wine that you took to the party?
Yes.
While you were with her, did you see her consume any of the alcohol?
She had a cup she poured a little bit into.
Okay. And when she was at the party, was she carrying this around with her?
Yes.
When you were with her, where were you at the party? What area did you?
Under the tent.
Is that where the band was hanging out?
Yes.
Or the bands, I should say?
Yes.
While you were with Ms. Bruck, did she consume any drugs that you noticed?
No.
Now, you said you worked with her. Where did you work with her?
Olga's,
And how long did you work with her?
6 months approximately.
And, did you know her pretty well?
No.
Did she ever talk about her personal life with you?
No.
When she was at the party, when you were with her, did she appear to be intoxicated?
No.
And you got to the party, you spent 20 minutes with her. Did you ever see her again?
No.
All right. No further questions. Thank you.
Redirect?
No, thank you.
Does anyone wish for Ms. Taylor to remain as a witness?
No, thank you.
No, Judge.
Be free to go or you're welcome to stay.
What we call Penny Watkins.
Come to the glass, please, and then pause by the microphone. And raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give is true?
Yes, I do.
You have a seat in the witness chair to my left. Please recite and spell your entire name for the court reporter.
Penny Renee Watkins, PENNYRE-NEEWATKINS.
Right ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Watkins, do you know an individual named Chelsea Brown?
Yes, I do.
And how do you know her?
She's kind of a friend. We have a mutual best friend, Becky Brinson. So I've met her a few times through Becky, hanging out together type thing.
And I'd like to direct your attention to October the 25th of 2014. Do you recall if there was anything special planned for that day?
Yes. I was going to a Halloween party at Mike's house.
You say Mike. Do you
Huh?
know Mike's last name?
Mike Williams, Big Mike is what we call him.
All right. And is that located on Post Road near Williams?
Correct.
And what was your plan in terms of going to that party?
It was kind of a last-minute decision. I was planning to drink at the party. I went with my sister. I was meeting Becky up there, and I was going to hang out just for a couple hours, and my sister was going to drive because she had to work in the morning. So she was going to drive for me, and I was going to drink a little bit and just hang out with some friends for a couple hours.
Is that what you did then?
Correct.
Did you go to the party?
Yes.
All right. Do you recall what time you arrived?
I want to say approximately 10 p.m.
Can you describe the scene when you arrived around 10?
Okay. Well, there was a food truck set up, lots of people, big tents, some music playing, heavy metal type stuff, lots of people just kind of hanging out, drinking, talking, lots of people in costumes.
There's been some testimony that there was a parking area
Yes.
behind the venue. Is that your recollection?
Yes, there was quite a large parking area, and there was actually parking attendants. I believe it was $10 to park, and it was back in the field.
So once you parked and got out, where did you proceed?
Towards the tent.
Did you meet then with Becky?
I did, yes.
And was there anyone with Becky when you arrived?
Becky's boyfriend Corey and Chelsea was right next to her as well.
So what happened then?
We started talking and hanging out. Becky had a boyfriend, so me and Chelsea kind of were being goofy and kind of walking around, just mingling and hanging out together, since Becky had a boyfriend and me and Chelsea were both single.
Was that a little unusual for you to be hanging out with Chelsea at the party?
Yeah, I've never really hung out that closely with her, but it's not unusual for me to just be like kind of open and friendly.
Okay. And what were the two of you doing during the party?
Drinking, walking around, talking to people, being goofy, kind of giggly. We were both a little bit tipsy.
At some point, did Chelsea injure herself?
She did. After the music stopped playing, they lit the bonfire on the other side of the yard, and as we were walking over there, there's this pavilion type structure, and she like hit the bridge of her nose on a piece of wood. We were kind of being distracted and goofy, and she didn't see it coming.
What would you say at that point in time was the level of her intoxication? Well, let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
Is it your impression that she injured herself as a result of being intoxicated or for some other reason?
For some other reason.
And what do you think that reason was?
Distracted, didn't see it coming. It was kind of a weird shape, the wood on that. We weren't expecting it.
And were you walking with Chelsea when that happened?
I was.
How bad did she get hurt?
She wasn't bleeding or anything, but when you hit your nose, sometimes it hurts really bad. And she was in some pain, and I told her to take some drinks. I had some vodka, and after a couple minutes, she was okay.
Did she, when she first got hurt, did she give you any indication of what she wanted to do?
She wanted to go home when she got hurt.
And after a few minutes, though, is it your testimony that she had changed her mind and decided to stay?
Correct.
So, around what time did you decide to leave the party?
Hold on a second. Sorry. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
I believe it was somewhere between 12 and 12:30 that I left.
When you decided to leave, were you still with Chelsea?
No. Chelsea had wandered off a little bit. I did have her phone in my hand when I decided to leave.
Did you make any effort to get her phone back to her?
I looked for her for about maybe 5 minutes. My sister was kind of rushing me, so when I couldn't find her, I ended up handing it to Becky.
So you gave Chelsea's phone to Becky?
Yes.
And what did you do then?
I left, well, actually we walked over to the car, and then some guys that we were flirting with earlier ended up being over there and talking to us for a few before we actually left, and I gave my number to one of the guys.
Do you know who that was? Do you recall?
I'm sorry, I don't recall his name.
So, later in the evening, did you receive a telephone call?
Yes.
Did you recognize the number?
No.
Did you answer the phone?
Yes.
Was it on your cell phone?
Yes.
And who was on the phone?
Chelsea.
And what was she, what did she indicate to you?
She needed a ride home. She wanted me to come get her.
Were you home already?
I was home. I was in no condition to drive. I was pretty intoxicated.
And just to clarify that, who drove home from the party?
My sister did.
Okay, does she drink?
Maybe she was not intoxicated, but she might have had a drink or two. I'm not confident.
So when you received that call, do you recall roughly what time it was?
I believe around 2:30.
And is it your indication, when you say that you were in no shape to drive, does that mean that you were intoxicated?
Correct.
Let's talk about Chelsea's costume for a moment, if you recall. What was it?
She made it herself. It was leaves, green leaves sewn on, I believe, to a dress. She was Poison Ivy from the movie of Batman, I believe.
Do you recall if there were any other parts of the costume?
She had a wig on, a red wig. She had bright lipstick on. She had a big wine bottle that she was carrying around. It was a big circular one.
And do you recall what she was, what if anything she was wearing on her legs or feet?
I'm not confident. I believe she had black leggings on, but I'm not confident.
Do you recall the shoes?
I do not.
Okay. When you and your sister left the party, was it just the two of you in the car?
Correct.
It's your recollection that no one drove with you?
Correct.
Do you have any idea how Becky Brinson got home?
Her and Corey drove together.
All right, thank you. Another question?
Cross.
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Watkins, what would you estimate the period of time that you kept company with Chelsea Bruck that particular evening?
Out of probably 2.5 hours there, we were probably together a good 2 hours of it.
You said earlier that prior to the party you didn't really know her.
She was an acquaintance. I chatted with her small talk. I wasn't close to her, no.
Okay. And you mentioned that she had a large bottle of wine with her.
Correct.
Did During that 2 hours that you spent with her, how many cups of wine did she have out of that bottle, if you know?
I really don't know, but I do know that it wasn't close to being empty.
And was it a gallon bottle, or what was it?
I don't know. I know that she picked the shape of it because it went with the poison ivy costume.
I take it was larger than the normal bottle of wine that you'd purchase at the party store.
It was definitely differently shaped. I don't know about the quantity.
Okay. And you said it was nowhere near empty. Do you have any estimate of how much of it was gone?
I'm sorry, I don't recollect.
And was she consuming the wine prior to hitting her head on the obstruction or the board?
Correct.
I think you testified earlier that you did not know whether she was intoxicated or not, or maybe you didn't answer that question.
She was intoxicated. It's hard to determine the level. I mean, she was definitely tipsy. She wasn't...
What gave you that impression that she was tipsy? What did you notice?
We were just kind of being giggly and goofy. That's how I get when I get tipsy, so I guess, we were both drinking, so that was maybe it was an assumption.
Did you notice anything about her balance or her walking ability?
No, she seemed to be walking just fine.
Were you with her when she walked into the wooden pole?
I was.
Tell me about the pole. Was it vertical, straight up and down the ground, or was it...
It was kind of horizontal, and I want to say it was at an angle.
Was it part of the tent?
There was like the tent was over this way, and then there's this pavilion that had some wood on it, and then the bonfire was on the other side of the pavilion. So we were kind of so distracted that we didn't even realize that we were walking through the pavilion all the way, maybe. But it was on an angle more horizontal than vertical.
What portion of her body struck the pole?
The bridge of her nose, sir.
And were you with her when she did that? Were you right next to her?
Correct,
Did
yeah.
it make a sound when she hit it?
Yeah, I mean, did she say something, are you saying? Or
Did it make a sound when her nose struck the board? Could you hear anything? I know there were bands playing, etc.
I mean, I don't recall. I don't recall.
How did she react?
She was holding her nose in pain and wanted to go home.
Okay. And, did you have a chance to look at her nose?
Yes.
Was there a pretty good lump on her nose from the contact?
Not at that time.
I mentioned that you may have stated that to a police officer earlier during an interview. Would that refresh your memory?
I'm sorry, I don't recall seeing an actual lump, but there was definitely no blood.
Okay. And did you part company with Chelsea shortly thereafter?
Correct. Yes.
Did she ask you for a ride home?
She did.
And that could not be accommodated?
I could not find her, and my sister was rushing me, and I knew she knew other people at the party, so it was kind of she asked, but it was kind of a casual asking, not a I really need a ride home type thing. So I mean, I looked for her for a little bit. When I couldn't find her, I gave her phone to Becky and assumed that, she knew other people and I wasn't overly concerned, I guess.
Okay. Now, you mentioned in response to one of the prosecutor's questions that after she hit her nose, you gave her some vodka to make her feel better.
Yeah.
How much vodka did you give her?
Just a couple sips. I had a water bottle filled with vodka and Kool-Aid, and she took a couple sips.
Did she drink any of your vodka earlier that night, or was that the only time?
Yes, she had a little bit.
Earlier in the evening?
Mm-hmm.
You have to answer yes or no.
Yes.
Any idea of how much she may have consumed?
Well, I'm not a huge drinker myself, and it was a regular sized water bottle, and only half of it was gone when I got home. So she didn't take a big portion of it, or anything substantial, I don't believe.
Okay. And, while you were at the party, did you see Chelsea smoke any marijuana or consume any drugs?
No, I did not.
You mentioned flirting with some gentlemen earlier in the evening. Do you recall the names of those gentlemen?
We have a picture with them, but I know one had the last name Stump.
Mhm.
I know the other one, his name started with an E, and I'm not sure about the other one.
And these were gentlemen that you met at the party you didn't know previously?
Yeah.
Did Ms. Bruck know them, to your knowledge?
No, she did not.
How long did you spend with those gentlemen, if you know?
Maybe 10, 15 minutes, and then myself and my sister talked to them for about 5 more minutes out at the car when we were about to leave.
Is that one of those gentlemen you gave your phone number to?
Correct.
Nothing further, thank you.
Redirect.
No, thank you.
Does anyone wish for this witness to remain as a witness?
No, thank you.
No, Your Honor.
You're welcome to stay or you're free to go. You can't discuss your testimony with anyone.
May we approach briefly?
Yes. You might want to stay. You might want to stay briefly.
Your Honor.
Of course. For the members of the audience and the family, this was just a procedural thing that the attorneys were bringing to my attention, that the assistant prosecutor will take a couple of witnesses. We just want to make sure that we all knew that she would be handling it and they won't be jumping back and forth. So that's the only thing that happened up here. Next witness.
Rebecca Brinson.
Would you come to the glass and pause at the microphone, please? Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is true?
I do.
Have a seat in the witness chair to my left. Please recite and spell your entire name for the court reporter.
Rebecca Brinson, R-E-B-E-C-C-A, B-R-I-N-S-O-N.
Go right ahead.
Thank you. Ms. Brinson, are you familiar with an individual by the name of Chelsea Brock?
Yes.
And how did you know this person?
We were coworkers and friends.
I'm going to ask you to speak up just a little bit.
I'm sorry, I
louder.
couldn't hear that last answer.
We're coworkers and friends.
Thank you.
And where did you work together?
Olga's Kitchen,
And how long did you work together at Olga's?
about a year.
Are you still employed there?
Yes.
Was there a group of individuals that became friends that worked at Olga's that would often associate together, hang out together?
Yes.
And can you name those people?
Well, there were different groups. You mean like our group?
Can you tell me the group that was in existence when you guys were hanging out with Chelsea Brock?
Heather Brooks, Jessica Probable, myself, Julie Hammock,
And did all of those individuals work at Olga's with you?
Yes.
And Chelsea as well?
Yes.
And you indicated, in addition to co-workers, you were friends with Chelsea. Can you describe your friendship with her?
She'd come over, we'd watch movies, go to movies, go shopping, go out together.
How often would you associate with her?
Outside of work, probably at least 3 to 4 times a week.
Would you also have shifts together at work?
Yes.
And what was the length of your friendship with Chelsea?
Probably about a year.
And that would be a year from what date to what date?
January.
Judge, I'm sorry, may we approach?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. Who in the audience has video recording equipment? Raise your hands. Stand up, please. We just got a report that somebody posted a live video on Facebook. If that was either of you, take it down and don't post it again.
Your Honor, what may be happening, just so that you know, is they may be taking it from our live feed and then posting it. So that gentleman right there, who's our pool cam, they may be taking it from the station and posting it to Facebook.
Now tell them not to.
Tell them not to? I'll send it. I'll do it right now.
And tell them to take whatever is up down.
Do you want me to call them right now? Or?
Yes.
So no live streaming?
What's that?
No live streaming?
No live streaming.
Okay. Do you mind if I make the call real quick, Your Honor?
No, do it, please. In fact, I'm going to take a short recess, and then you can start from the beginning with her if you want. I'm going to get this going under control.
Thank you, Judge.
All rise, please. Court's in recess.
No, I'm good, thank you. Are you, will you do a does your contact with the photographer?
Oh, no. Do you? Okay. Sure. Sure. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I'm letting them know.
I don't think it kicked out.
I don't have the capability of live streaming. I don't have my DVDs or CDs. Yeah. Is anybody else showed up yet? For us? Because if so, I could give them this to you locally, grab your video. I've got already.
Oh, this, I can,